Hey guys, gals. I wanted to make this video and it is for the people who want to sit through kind of a boring little video about this new green card uh, rule that the administration has put out. Because I'd like to go through a few things. And the first one is to start with just your general Google search on what it's saying about this. And that's easy to go through. The new green card rules. And here we go. Under a major U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services policy directive, most foreign nationals who are already inside the U.S. and want to apply for a green card must now leave the country and complete their applications at U.S. consulate in their home countries. This is a major shift in policy, but it's the way it was meant to be done from the beginning, from the 1980 Immigration National and Naturalization Act. Okay, I messed that one up. It's mandatory consular processing for adjustment of status. So it's a discretionary form of relief rather than an automatic right to remain in the country uh, while you're overstaying your visa and applying for the I-485, which is adjustment of status to get a green card. In this case, officers at USCIS are instructed to require applicants to apply from abroad, except in extraordinary circumstances. And I'll just say right off the bat that this does not apply to refugees who were just brought here because they have persecution in their home country. And we have made this decision. We're not about to send you back after being here for a year and trying to start your life here. We're not about to send you back to go get a green card in South Africa. And I believe the same thing applies to the asylees who are here waiting for approval on their case. So they will not be sent back to a country that is dangerous for them, um, just to apply for this green card. All right, increased scrutiny. USCIS officers are now authorized to evaluate an applicant's entire immigration history and discretionary factors, and have begun issuing requests for evidence asking for justification of why AOS should be granted adjustment of status in the US instead of overseas. Heightened fraud vetting. Yes, this is very good. Work authorization changes. Oh dear. Uh, Down to 18 months. Your EAD is down to 18 months. And most of the refugees have an 18-month EAD. We thought there might be a problem if it expires before you get your green card, but that's still kind of a big question out there because you don't really need it to work. Potential complications. Immigration lawyers and policy groups have raised concerns that leaving the U.S. for consular processing can trigger statutory bars preventing re-entry. And the bar they're talking about is overstaying your visa in the US while you apply for a green card. And you can't wipe that away. That overstaying your visa is very serious and basically gets you barred from the country for 5 years. Um, so what else? Have a consultant attorney. Okay, there's that. So I found the real, the real wonderful document, which is sent out to give guidance on what this policy is all about. Here is the policy memorandum. I'm going to show you now. Where is my share? Here it is. May 21st. This was sent out as guidance. And subject, adjustment of status is a matter of discretion and administrative grace and an extraordinary relief that permits applicants to dispense with the ordinary consular visa process. Now, those are very lofty terms, especially administrative grace. Whenever I see that word, I think of God's grace. But this is a very serious document, and it reminds everybody that this is the way it happened in the past, and it's going to happen. This is guidance to what you should be doing in the future concerning these people doing adjustment of status for a green card, and their justification in law about how they can do this now and turn back the clock to the way it used to be. You can go read this if you like. Where is the uscis.gov, and just search on adjustment of status and discretion. It's called 2026 0521.pdf. But you can search this and read it if you like. It's quite heady stuff, and it's referring to the law quite a bit. So I'm not going to go into that document, but I would like to look at what CWS is saying about this. And CWS on their website makes a short little thing at the bottom, and that came out yesterday, I believe. Policy requiring heightened scrutiny of green card applicants begins. So it's beginning right away, I have no doubt. USCIS has started asking some green card applicants why they did not return home when their visas expired, and whether anything prevents them from seeking adjustment of status through a consulate in their home country, according to immigration lawyers who spoke with the Washington Post. Immigration lawyers and the Washington Post, but they don't have anyone at the government they're talking to. They're talking to lawyers and the Washington Post, so they're in a closed loop, it seems. It remains unclear if USCIS's recent memo requires officers to pose these questions to some or all applicants. Well, they make it very clear by saying there are only extreme circumstances where they will allow you to stay in the country and apply for a green card. And I believe that refugees and asylees are those categories. Someone else disagrees, so we'll go through that in a minute. A DHS official told the Post, oh, okay, that the policy will have no noticeable impact on highly qualified applicants and skilled professionals who have followed the law. Well, because they're going to apply for this visa green card thingy in their home country. And when they're highly skilled and qualified, they're going to get approved. Um, and that the administration is prioritizing immigration that strengthens America culturally, socially, and financially, while preventing mass third world migration, which hurts our country now. Yeah, uh, that's uh, that's pretty plain, I think. Should the new policy ultimately require applicants to complete processing outside of the US, many will be affected by existing restrictions, such as nationals from the 75 countries with frozen visa processing. No, I didn't know it was 75 countries. I thought it was only 19 countries, a core of 19, and then expanded out to 39 countries, which there are restrictions on, or those who face a multi-year ban on reentry for overstaying a visa. Well, you should never do that. For example, a Sudanese couple featured in the Post with pending green card applications cannot return to Sudan to complete consular processing, given that the country is affected by the travel ban. You see, so this travel ban won't allow them to come back um, through their adjustment of status in their home country. They lack a functioning U.S. embassy or consulate, and the country's experiencing severe unrest. There is no confirmation yet that such circumstances will allow USCIS to exercise administrative grace. Yeah, we don't know yet. There are a lot of details that were not included in this announcement to the general public. Okay. Um, Now I would like to look at the, is it Time Magazine? I think it's the Time Magazine. Write up on this. I find this very interesting. Most people applying for green cards from within the United States will be required to leave the country and apply through consulates abroad under sweeping changes. Well, uh, they have one thing right. This is going to dramatically complicate the process for hundreds of thousands of people who seek a green card in this country. There's a lot of backlash going on. I saw Hispanic immigration attorney say that they would be suing the administration because of this. But I don't think they'll get anywhere with that. They've announced a new policy on May 21st, uh, and would only be issued under extraordinary circumstances, and are instructing immigration officers to make case-by-case determinations. Okay, here's a Boston College Law School professor. And what I thought was interesting is he said this administration is trying to make it as difficult as possible for as many people as possible to attain permanent resident status. I I think that's true. We are narrowing the gap here and closing the loopholes. I agree. We're focusing now on the group of people who potentially have the strongest reasons to stay in this country legitimately. We're focusing. He's referring to the spouses and family members of U.S. citizens or legal residents. And this is the part that gets me about this time piece, because the group of people who have the strongest reason to stay in this country legitimately are the refugees and the asylees who have a case. And he says he's referring to spouses of US citizens. Well, I have a real problem with the spouses of US citizens um, that he's saying here because we have an epidemic of American men who are being taken in by Asian women and then taken for everything they've got. And I know about this happening personally. It happened to my family, it happened to my brother, and it was witnessed by me up close and personal because he lived next door to me for many years. And this lady who came from Thailand, this woman, and she came over on a visitor's visa, or it might have been a work visa. I'm not even sure. And she was met a man, and she had a child with this man, but he refused to marry her. And then she ended up caretaking for an elderly family member of his. Then the elderly family member died, and she went on Match.com and met my brother. And she was as sweet as pie. And she visited, and she had this child, this cute girl. And my brother married her. He asked me, should I marry her? I said, well, if you think if you think it will work, and if you love her and you think she loves you, yeah. So we had the wedding at the Foreign Legion, and I baked the wedding cake, and I stayed until the wee hours of the morning cleaning up, and it's all nice. And the next morning, she said to him, to my brother, I no cook for you no more. I can laugh about it, but it's horrific. So years went by, and she was just a roommate and making him miserable. And he wouldn't divorce her because of the child. He thought the child was beautiful and spectacular, whatever was happening. Um, so eventually she did abandon the marriage, and he died 6 months later, my brother, unexpectedly. And he didn't have a will. And you can guess what the rest of the story is. Yes, it really was terrible. And I discussed with a lawyer going after his estate because my brother and I were always very close, only a year apart. And the attorney said, well, I hate to have to tell you this, but I have four other clients in the same exact position that your brother was in with this Asian woman. It is a real situation. It's a really bad thing what's happening to American men. And this would stop that. If they have to wait in their own country in Asia somewhere to get this green card, the thing will die, I think, because it's a fake marriage um, that's happening here. And this is what I think this Times article is missing. When they say spouses, that's the most important thing, that spouses be able to get the green card and not have to leave the country because they're the spouse, you know? No, that's where we need to focus. Uh, this needs to be a focus. And sorry, and the American can go live in that country with them, can go stay there, can go visit until they legally are proven to be a real marriage. And a lot of these will fail. And it's a very sad thing, in my opinion. Okay, and it says here it's unclear how the agency will determine who can apply for a green card while in the country and who can apply while outside the country. But at its broadest, this policy could affect 500,000 people, who apply for green cards each year, and it's not going to affect refugees or asylees, the South African asylees. Let's see. There are all sorts of immigrant visas to apply for a green card. I had a huge a sheet that was taped to my desk trying to learn all the visas and things like that. It never sunk in. H1A, H2B, H4. I just have some of them, L1. Uh, so I never got them. And I don't claim to be any kind of expert. I'm just commenting on what these things are saying here. So this is a good policy, and it will bring things back the way we intended to let people come over, and it not be a massive flood of everyone marrying each other for a green card, and with a lot of fake things going on and a lot of things out of our hands where we are not making the decision. Are you good for our country? Are you for real? Let's do this investigation here. Um, so this is, yeah, it will affect a lot of people. This is really is big. This is a really big thing that the government is doing, and I agree with it, not only for my personal story that I just told you, uh, but because it's just the right way to go about this. We don't need this out of control immigration. There are so many different visas and ways you can get a green card with money, with starting a business, and a lot of these things, not the investment visa, that's pretty straightforward, but the business visa, a lot of fraud goes on in that. They did some stories on that. There's just anywhere people can defraud, it's going to happen. So anyway, you can read this Time article if you're really interested. It's on, let's see, is there anything else? No. But I think it's a good thing, but nobody should worry. This is about immigration. This has nothing to do with the refugees. And I've looked at a lot of different sources, and nowhere are refugees or asylees spoken about specifically. And that's because uh, it's not going to happen to you. It doesn't apply to you. This is for immigration. Uh, Also, there's the principle of non-refoulement, which is international law, which says if you've taken a person into your country as an asylee or as a refugee, you cannot send them back to that country unless the situation has drastically changed and the persecution has stopped, the discrimination, the persecution, the situation that led us to approve them as refugees or asylees. So this principle of non-refoulement, I had a laugh. I heard the president of South African mention the principle of non-refoulement, and it was funny how he mentioned that, but I don't think he understood it. Anyway, that's that. Don't worry, be happy. Talk to you later.